Hi everybody, welcome to episode 4 of the BIH Show, and we've got quite a jam-packed show for you this week. Nottingham Panthers Director of Hockey, Guillaume Doucet, talks about what's happening at his club and what it was like to be on the bench in their recent game against the Coventry Blaze. We also have Tristan Keck of Coventry Blaze telling us about what it's like to be playing here after a year of difficulty. Plus we have Sheffield Steelers' very own bulldog, Jason Hewitt, telling us what it's like to be back with the Steelers and playing alongside Liam Kirk. Listeners to our audio podcast should listen out for an exclusive interview with Guildford Flames Chief Operating Officer Kirk Humphreys about their decision to sit out the Elite Series. But now it's time for the first interview. Here's Guillaume Doucet. Guy, welcome to the BIH Show. Good to have you on board. As we record, it's Tuesday morning. It's the morning after the 4-3 win over the Manchester Storm. You're starting a bit of run there. 3 wins and 7 points it is out of 8. Things just a little bit rosier in the Panthers' garden this morning?
Yeah, for sure. When the results comes our way, it's always a bit better. I thought early on in the series we did play some good hockeys, but there was a lot of holes in our game. There was a lot of areas that we didn't really, we were not on the same page, and it cost us some big points early on. So yeah, since early last week, things started to click a little bit, and it's definitely nice for the confidence, to finish. Or it's not over yet. There's still 3 games to go, but to keep improving and hopefully finish on a positive.
And I know as well you've had maybe 1 or 2 injuries that have maybe kept guys out for the odd game here and there. I think Mark Garside was probably the more serious one. He's missed a couple of games in the series. How much has that impacted on the team and dare I say the performances as well at times?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a very intense series with a lot of games and not too many nights. It's no secret that we don't have that much depth on D. So a guy like Mark not being able to play really, it doesn't help our game, that's for sure. We had other guys that step up, and it was good for the other guys to get big minutes. For a guy like Liam Stenton to get a bit more ice time. We saw Robert Lakovic play a few shifts on D there one night. That was good experience, and we found a way to make it work. But obviously, in a series like this, I think staying healthy and everybody being able to chip in is a big key of, who's going to end up winning this thing is probably going to be the team that, stays healthy the most.
Absolutely. And you talk about who's going to win this thing. We're no clearer to finding out who that's going to be. The standings at the moment show Sheffield and Coventry on 10 points. You guys in Manchester on 9 as well. From a neutral point of view, as someone watching from afar, it certainly looks very exciting. What's it like to be in the thick of it, as it were?
It's so much fun to be back at it. But yeah, I think everybody's got a pretty good team. And we've seen recently that, if you don't have a good performance on one night, you most likely will lose the game. That's what's happening. And it's good. I think it's good for the series. It's good for the fan. It makes for an exciting product. And I think, it shows that the guys that are there care and they are there for the right reasons. And I think that's why we have a very tight series so far.
I'm keen to know as well, obviously the fixtures have been coming thick and fast. We've seen that over the last week now. It's pretty much a game a day right up until I think Friday off the top of my head. So how much has time management become a real factor in how you prepare for games? Because obviously you've got to practice, you've got to work on what systems you can, not to mention the guys need their rest as well. How do you factor all that in with such a short space of time?
Yeah, it was a different challenge for myself and Tim in terms of preparation. We try to get a few good hard practice early on in the series, but I would say for the last 2 weeks now, it's been mostly, like quick skate just to get a little flush, get the legs going. But there's not many, there's no more hard practices at this point. When we do get on the ice, we will make a few adjustments system-wise and work on that. But for the most part, it's been, focusing on recovery. A lot of the teaching and a lot of preparation is being done, virtually via video, because it's a lot for the guys to always be at the rink together, and they play enough games. We don't think it's the best idea to get them at the ring to show them video or get them on the ice to work on a few things. So most of our practices have been optional on a day after a game. And some guys do jump on because they feel like they need that. But yeah, key is recovery and rest at this point.
I want to ask you about earlier in the tournament. There was a game Tim had to miss out on because he was self-isolating because of there was an issue with someone on his flight to the UK. Therefore, you had to step up and stand behind the bench. As far as I'm aware, that was your first experience of doing that. How did you find it?
It was interesting. I mean, I was nervous. I won't lie. But as the game went on, I've been on the bench myself as a player for many games, so you kind of it clicked right away how it was gonna go, and I think I did okay. But yeah, it's not something I want to be doing too often, but it was a good experience, and I definitely got to see the game from there. I obviously played the game, but when I watch, I'm usually higher, or I watch on video, so it's hard to sometimes see what's happening in some corners or what's happening on the bench. So it was a good experience. I think it's something that maybe in the future, I'm not saying I want to be behind the bench, but maybe in the future for a few games here and there, I'll try to get closer to the action, closer to the guys to see what I can pick up from that angle.
And of course, you have mentioned the fact that you've played the game, so you know what it's like on the bench. But from that position as well, how much of a different dimension did it give you into the coach's line of work, if we can call it that?
Yeah. I mean, it opens your eyes on how quick things happen in a game when you have to make decisions. When you're a player and you're in the game, you obviously focus on your game more. So when you're coaching and you have to focus on 20 guys or 22 guys, it's sometimes hard, in a fraction of a second to make a decision like who's going or what are we changing and things like that. So I've always known that coaching was a tough gig. But it was good. I think it was good that I experienced it. And I think Tim learned also from, watching a game live from his hotel room on the computer. He probably saw things that he doesn't see usually because he watches the game the next day or the same night, but it already happened, right? It's not live when you watches the game. So I think it was good for both of us to see that. And obviously we didn't get the result we wanted that night, but I think we probably learned from that experience.
Now, when I look at the other three teams, Danny Stewart, Ryan Finnerty, Aaron Fox are all coaches as well as GMs, whereas you and Tim have sort of split the role up basically. I'm keen to know about the dynamic between you two guys, particularly on match day. How does it work? I know you work closely when it comes to recruitment, but when it comes to game day, tell us about that. Give us some insight into that relationship and how the two of you work together.
Well, this year it's a bit different because we lost Rick Strachan to retirement. Sorry. So on game day, I'm there to maybe let him bounce ideas off me. Most of the decisions are made before the day of the game, but sometimes on game night there's little tweaks, little adjustment, little things that he wants to discuss, and I'm there to give him my opinion and maybe just be another voice for him when it comes to ideas and line matching, line combination, power play combination, and things like that. He has the last call. It's his decision. I'm not gonna tell him what to do, but I obviously give him my opinion. We work well together. Most of the time, we agree on what's the best way forward for the team. But yeah, I'm there mostly to make sure everything goes smoothly. I'm there if anybody need my help, in the staff or with the players. And in terms of coaching, I leave that to Tim for the most of it.
Now, going back to last Friday, you finally got one over on Sheffield Steelers. You finally managed to get a victory over them. How much did you need that, given the way the tournament had gone, and particularly in light of the 8-4 defeat in the previous game against them?
Oh, it was good for confidence. To be honest, I thought the first game we played against them would deserve better. We lost that one by a goal, but I thought we had a lot of good chances. We had a lot of puck possession in the O zone. We didn't give them too much. They were really opportunistic that night. So yeah, that second game against them, it was disappointing. But in hockey, it happens. It's one of those nights where everything went the wrong way for us. But it was good for the team just to be able to get a result. So now that we know that if we play well, and everybody chips in, we have a chance to beat them, and we can beat them. We've proven that. So that was definitely good for their confidence. But yeah, I mean, if for once in British hockey, for the first time ever, maybe the last time ever, at this point of the tournament, the results don't matter that much, which it's never the case, right? So we have the luxury to try things and maybe give a little bit more, experience a little bit more than we would normally on a regular season where every night is a must win.
Now, you've always said all through the recruitment process that this was an opportunity for not only players to impress you guys, but for you guys to maybe look at recruitment for a new season, hopefully all going ahead. How much of an idea are you getting of who you would like to bring in next year? I think the one player in your team that won't be coming back next year is Austin Cangelosi. I believe he's returning to Norway. But how much are you getting an idea of who you would like to bring in for next year, if it happens?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think, most of the guys, we have a good idea of what they can bring, what kind of players, what kind of persons they are. And now we just have to figure out when we can actually start, making decisions. But yeah, I think most of the guys have shown what they've got, and it was a really good opportunity for both us and them to see that firsthand. We'll see in the next few weeks where this takes us, but I think for the most part, me and Tim have a good idea of what will be happening with this current team.
Guy, thank you so much for joining us on the BIH Show. Good to catch up with you. Best of luck for the rest of the games.
Thanks, Greg.
Guillaume Doucet of the Nottingham Panthers. Our next guest is a man who's taken the competition by storm, leading the scoring charts at the time of recording on the back of some very impressive displays, and he's very fast on his skates as well. Danny Stewart is a big fan of him, and he's here as a first-year pro after quite a year due to the coronavirus pandemic. Earlier this week, I caught up with Coventry forward Tristan Keck to find out all about him. Tristan, first-year pro, and you're doing really well with Coventry Blaze right now. 14 points in 8 games. This pro game must be quite easy for you so far.
No, we got a great system here. We got great coaching staff, been put with great line mates, and so they definitely deserve most of the credit, that's for sure.
Tell us about what it's been like for you the last year. Presumably turning pro this year was always your plan, but it's not maybe fair to say it's maybe not quite happened the way you would have liked.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting season for everybody, that's for sure. I mean, with COVID and the way things ended in college as well, you didn't really know what to expect. And going into, I guess, this year, obviously something would have been nice. Anything would have been nice to play. And very fortunate that this started up and Danny was able to give me a chance here. And yeah, I'm very fortunate for that.
Was coming to the UK an option for you when you first looked into your first steps in your pro career, or is it just something that's happened the way it has?
No, definitely. I've always wanted to come over to Europe and play. I feel that my style would kind of work well here. And yeah, I think UK was definitely an option for sure. I honestly, with the way things were going, I was looking for anything, as I mentioned. And so, yeah, I'm just very, very fortunate and very glad to be here.
So what did you do over the months in between? Did you get yourself a job, or did you just have to sit out and just wait and see what happened?
Yeah, thankfully my dad owns a business back in our hometown, and so I was able to put in hours there and just working out, staying in shape. I was just always kind of working out as if a call was coming the next day. I kind of had that approach to it. So I was always staying in shape, getting into the gym, and we had an ice little mini rink built in our front yard. It was cold enough to do that, and so I was able to skate when everything was closed in Manitoba. So I was always able to stay in shape and be almost game ready. So that was huge.
And how did you stay positive? I've spoke to many guys who, over the last year, for whatever reason, haven't been able to skate or get the ice time. How do you stay positive in such a testing time?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge for sure. I mean, like I said, I always kind of had that mindset where the phone call was going to come, and so that helped me to stay motivated for sure. And so it was definitely challenging. Definitely days were a lot harder than some, but yeah, it was it was good just keeping yourself going with being able to work out. Like I said, I was fortunate that gyms and some ice arenas were open. And so that made it a lot easier for me. I know a lot of guys here weren't able to get into a gym or get on the ice. And so I was definitely fortunate with that.
So how do you feel you've integrated with your teammates over here? You know, I think that the results and certainly your record certainly speaks for itself. How do you find playing with the guys that you're playing with?
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've definitely, it's a lot more fun than I've had in past years of hockey. I'm just enjoying myself out there. With Danny as a coach, he kind of says, he wants his players to just almost play freely, like offensively and stuff. He just lets you play, which is huge. And definitely having the confidence of him and my line mates and stuff is huge as well. But we got a great core here. We got a great leadership group, and yeah, just the guys as well on the team. Everybody kind of gelled really quickly, and we've been able to spend a lot of time together in the hotel here, and it's just been a lot of fun hanging around with them.
How are you finding the schedule of the games? It seems to be getting more and more full on as we go. Obviously, we're a couple of weeks away from what will be the playoff situation as well. How are you finding the schedule again, considering you've not played for so long?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely benefited me that I was able to get on the ice quite a bit of times before coming here. But I mean, after going with no hockey for a year, it's nice to be able to play as many games as possible. That's the way I'm kind of looking at it right now. But I know that the muscles do get a little bit sore with the amount we're going, but the coaching staff, training staff here has been good and looking after us, giving us rest and stuff like that. And so I'm just happy to play, to be honest.
And of course, what have you made of the season so far? The teams you've played against, how much have you enjoyed being part of it?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. The competition's been good. There's a lot of veterans in this league for sure. On our team, my line mate Mike Hammond, he's definitely has a lot of pro experience. Our goaltender Owen, I mean, some great talent in here. But I just, like I've said, been fortunate to have great line mates, and we've definitely gelled really quickly. So it's been awesome.
So, any thoughts to the future, and hopefully, maybe from a UK point of view, season next year? Have you thought about what you're going to do next?
I haven't given it too much thought. No, I'm just trying to approach it one day at a time and do. I mean, obviously the goal right now is to win the series here, and so that's where my mind's at right now. And then after, I'm sure things will work out. So.
Coventry Blaze's Tristan Keck on the BIH Show. Well, if Tristan's making his first steps on his career journey, then a man who's been down this well-worn path before is coming up next. It's Jason Hewitt, of course, the Sheffield Steelers veteran, back with the club 5 years since he last played with them. He has, of course, been working in the NIHL in recent years as the player-coach of Hull Pirates, as well as the Sheffield Steel Dogs in the mini tournaments earlier this year. But I caught up with Jason to find out who the body's faring with such a punishing schedule and how he feels to be back wearing orange. Huey, welcome to the BIH Show. Good to have you on board this week. Now, if I told you a year or two ago you'd be back playing for the Sheffield Steelers, what would you have told me?
Yeah, I told you're crazy. It's been a crazy old year, and it just keeps getting a little stranger, doesn't it? But no, it's worked out nice.
How does it feel to be back wearing the orange again, a club you served for so long and with distinction as well?
Yeah, it feels natural now. I'd say probably only the first day when you're kind of walking in with your bag, it felt a little strange, and obviously I've been dealing with them with work for a while, so it felt kind of like I was there on that basis. And then, but once I was on the ice, it felt kind of natural, and it's been pretty smooth.
Excellent. How much are you enjoying playing in this series right now? As you say, it's been quite a year. There's been many tournaments really just to kind of plug the gap a little bit. How much are you enjoying being part of this one right now?
Yeah, I know going into it, I was a little apprehensive. I think just didn't know if I'd had my time and whether I should just leave it at that. But I think with the Spring Cup just recently happening and stuff like that, I'm feeling good in that. I think I wanted a challenge, and obviously playing against a few of those GB guys in the Spring Cup, I think gave me that taste that, to try and see if I could still do it at this level, albeit as a reduced import level for this. It's still a very high standard of hockey, and I'm definitely glad I did. I'd have been kicking myself if I didn't go for it.
So the body's holding up well then. That must obviously be pleasing for you, given the amount of games that are coming so thick and fast right now.
Yeah, it's holding up all right. It's a few niggles, like anything. When you're playing every other day, it's going to happen. But feel good, feel like I'm contributing and doing my part, and I'm getting great opportunity with great players. So yeah, it's been great.
When you look at it, obviously you've played the last 4 or 5 years with Hull, as well as being their coach. This year, obviously, you've played with the Steel Dogs in the streaming series and the Spring Cup. So it feels as though you've had time to adjust to this increase in level as you go. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, I think the other levels allowed me to work on some elements of my game that I probably didn't get a chance to while I was in the Elite League. You know, with a high level of imports and not much power play time, limited to a degree, limited ice time, and I think being able to play so much in the last few years I feel as confident as I ever have, to be honest. And I'm 37 years old, so maybe that's part of it too, just being older and kind of realizing, you know, as serious it is just a game and you've got to enjoy it. So that's where I'm at in my life and career of hockey, is just trying to enjoy every moment. You know, it's not going to last forever, and I think that's something this last year particularly has really taught us, that you know, it could be gone at any time. So just trying to play with a smile on my face and enjoy it, really.
Do you find you enjoy it more now because you're that bit older? There's maybe an appreciation more of it than what there was maybe 10 years ago, for example?
Probably, yeah. I think, you know, like I say, I'm 37 now. I know, you know, maybe not so much 10 years ago. I was taking it pretty serious then, but I think before that it was more like I didn't see it being a forever thing. But obviously it's been the best part of over half of my life has been about hockey now. And but I think when you do get older and you start seeing the time ticking, I think you do start appreciating things a little more, and the things you've done. And I know I'm hopefully got a couple of years left there just to enjoy it, but I know looking back, like you do definitely take it for granted at times, and you definitely shouldn't, because time waits for nobody, and it just soon flies by.
Ain't that the truth? But as we record, 8 points in the 9 games so far. We're speaking after the game against Coventry, what would have been on Tuesday night. I mean, that's a good return for someone who's been out of this Elite League scene for the last 5 years. How pleased are you with that so far?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy that it has, to a degree, translated points wise. That I think that was something that I was kind of keen to see if I could produce at this level. And like I say, I can really only say that's the opportunity I've been given. I've been given good ice time, and I'm one of the power play units, which has helped. But yeah, I just think it's the same for anyone. And going back to talking about when I was sort of there 10 years ago, I probably wasn't getting the opportunities that I am now during this series. And it's the same for any player. And I know there's been a lot of talk about import levels and stuff at the moment, and young British players, but you know, those players need to get opportunities, and then when you are given those, you've got to take your chance. And I think that's something I've managed to do here. So yeah, it's. But to answer your original question, I had 8 points in 9 games. I think it is. I'd have snatched your hand off.
Now, the results have been going well. You'd picked up a couple of heavy victories along the way, a couple of defeats prior to the game against Coventry. How much did that give you all collectively a bit of a, dare I say, a kick up the backside that you're not going to stroll this thing?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say we needed it. I think we're a pretty humble group, but we were doing a lot of damage, so it's easy to get sort of comfortable and complacent. But certainly came down with a bit of a bang in the Nottingham game in the first period. Give ourselves a bit too much to do there. But I think other than that, I think even that game, I think after the first period, we probably dominated the most part of that game. And then the Manchester game, I'd say we had a lot of opportunities that just didn't go. And you're going to have patches like that, especially in a quick fire tournament like this. But we're a confident group. Obviously, our goaltending has has made it a little more challenging. With all due respect to the guys that are in, that they're both first year pros, and so we're good enough to protect them, which is good. But I think we just got to be a little smarter with things like staying out of the box and stuff like that, and make sure we're helping them in that way. And I think we'll have every chance to win it.
Now, you've worked with a fair few coaches through the years, Hughie. How does Aaron Fox compare? Tell us a bit about his methods, maybe compared to what you've been used to in the past.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my short experience, I knew him a little bit to talk to in the gym and stuff the past year or so, but he's an honest guy, and like I say, he's given me great opportunity. I think that the most refreshing thing for me when you're comparing to coaches from my past with the Steelers and stuff like that is he wants you to make plays, and kind of gives you that freedom, sort of the red line in, and that's a big relief for me, because I know in previous years, if I didn't get the red and chip it in and go make a hit and stuff like that, my minutes would be reduced. So to come in and be able to sort of have that freedom and make plays is a big relief. And I've enjoyed it. He's an honest guy. He wants to play fast, and I'm not the fastest player, but he wants to get on the offense as quick as possible, and I like that style. And yeah, I think for me, it's a short sample, but I think he's great. I think he's a great coach.
And I've got to ask you about Liam Kirk as well. We had him on the show a couple of weeks ago. Very humble, nice kid, really nice guy. What's it like to play alongside him, given the improvement we've seen in him in the last year or two? You played with him in the Spring Cup as well. Now he's alongside you in the Steelers lineup. How good can he be?
Yeah, well, I'm glad he was humble with you guys, because he's definitely a cocky little rat when he's around me. But no, he's a fantastic player, and we've seen him on and off a little bit the last couple of years during summers and stuff. But he's taken it to another level, and just through work rate, really, he just works so hard on his game, and the things that he's added to his bag is, he's sort of an import level player, and at the age of 21 in our league now. So I'm hoping that, this COVID situation doesn't affect his path too much, and he can, whatever he's going to do next, I think it'd be nice to see him go somewhere and do some damage somewhere else. I mean, this will always be here for him, but it'd be nice to see him really take it to another level and sort of continue to lay the path for other players.
Now, we're about a week or so away from the end of the Elite Series, maybe a couple of weeks actually, just when I look at the date there. 3 regular season games to go, then, and you're in the sort of playoff setup. What would it mean for you to win another piece of silverware with the Steelers, and what would it mean for the club as a whole, given the year we've all had?
Yeah, I think, as any player, you're going into it, anything trying to win and do your best. Obviously, Steelers, it was certainly in my time, was a pretty good tradition, and they've recently, or what you can say as recent as possible, they've just come off the back of a Challenge Cup as well. So the organisation makes it pretty clear to everybody as soon as we came in that the goal is to win it, and I think they've put the players in place that can do that. But yeah, I want to, every time I go on the ice, it could be a scrimmage, a practice, whatever it is. I like to win. I've been lucky really to become quite accustomed to it. So yeah, it'd be nice to add another one. Albeit it's a small tournament. It's always a nice feeling.
And finally, I've got to ask you. Obviously, we're hoping that we're going to see a full season next year. I think the NIHL, certainly the National League, have certainly committed to one. What's the plan for you, Hughie? You're going to have another crack at the Elite League, or is it back to Hull? What are you looking at in the months ahead?
No, yeah, I think there was never an aspiration to sort of make another run at the Elite League here. I obviously walked away from it for a job with Bauer and sort of made a career of this. So they've been really good with me and allowing me to take the time off, if you like, to take part in this. But the goal was come in, give a good show myself, and then more than likely, unless something crazy happened, is go back to the NIHL and continue that path probably for another couple of years. And see where we are.
Brilliant, Hughie. Thank you so much for joining us on the BIH Show. Best of luck for the rest of the tournament, and we hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
And that was Jason Hewitt of Sheffield Steelers joining us on the BIH Show. Big thanks to Jason for his time. Also thanks to Guillaume Doucet and Tristan Keck for coming on the show. If you want to hear the Kirk Humphreys interview, Kirk is of course the Chief Operating Officer at Guildford Flames. You need to download the audio podcast for that. You can get that from your podcast provider. But the latest news, find us on the website, britishicehockey.co.uk. We're on social media as well at Facebook, Twitter, at Brit Ice Hockey and Instagram. And that's it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed the show. In the meantime, enjoy the hockey. Stay safe. We'll be back with you next week. Take care of yourself.